Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice trailer. I've had so much going on in my head about it. This morning I watched it for the 1 billionth time. It must be that. I've had it on repeat again all day. I have a theory, people. And this is it, right? First of all, let's think about it. Why, if everyone hates Superman, has the city of Metropolis done a statue of him? Why would they do that? Because the Superman we saw in the trailer, in my opinion, isn't actually Superman. I actually think they're going to do the Superman Lives story here. And as preposterous as that sounds, as crazy as it sounds, I think this is what they're going to do, and it's going to be awesome. And another question, this is why I think this. Why all of a sudden would Batman come out of retirement and start wanting to fight Superman for no particular reason? Some people think it's maybe...
Didn't he look adorable, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the dceu Daily, and welcome back to Big Mouth. Do you want to see more of that? If you want to see more of that, right, I'll explain what that is. That's me on a very old YouTube channel I don't use anymore. It's how I started, basically. The hair, I look so young. I want to look like that again. Should I do my hair like that again? I'd like to. It was a bit disjointed, but I like the way it looked. And that's me reacting to the first teaser trailer of BVS and having this theory, actually, that we were going to do the whole Superman Lives thing in BVS. This, of course, was before I saw the film. So my idea of BVS, because it was about 2.5 hours long, was that what would happen is we'd see Doomsday early on, he would kill Superman, and they'd do the whole Superman Lives arc through that first film. Of course, I was blatantly wrong, and it just shows you how wrong someone can be. And I did interrupt myself mid-sentence and say, how can you see that if you want to see it? All you have to do is follow me on Twitter at MoviesTVMad. It is, I have posted it on my Twitter, so on my feed somewhere, that's going to be there. So yeah, that was my early theory that was blatantly wrong of BVS. A lot to talk about today, so let's get on with it. So RT Snyder Cut, which is a brilliant account over on Twitter, doing a marvellous job for all of us to be able to see Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. They're petitioning all the broadcasters abroad for us, doing a wonderful job, so please give them a follow as well on Twitter. Well, because Grace Randolph's got me blocked, unfortunately, because we fell out over her initial reaction of David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and I regret that because she is the most successful female YouTuber blogger on the YouTube platform. I have a lot of respect for her, but unfortunately we fell out. RT Snyder Cut reminded me of what she said about Snyder and BVS, because it was all about this whole thing. She had this big war of words with Campia and the former, like, Collider mob, and I call them a mob because they are a mob. Anyway, she said about BVS, it's literally a classic film that everyone's going to be talking about for years to come. And it's going to take people ages to respect the film, to understand the film. But it's definitely going to be a film that people are going to admire kind of years and years down the road. And she compared it to The Shining, and she made a good point about The Shining. Actually, she said that people didn't appreciate The Shining at first. It was only a few years down the road where people appreciated Stanley Kubrick's The Shining as a classic pioneering movie. And let's not forget that Stanley Kubrick is, I wouldn't say his stylized version is the same as Zack's, but he was another creative people didn't understand. In fact, they hated him in his early part of his career, like they hate Zack. And I think people slowly now are starting to understand Zack Snyder and understand his unique visionary take on films. These things take time. Change takes time. But one thing I would say with Snyder over Kevin Feige, well, if you look at WandaVision, I am enjoying WandaVision, right? But it's not original. It may be an original take for a kind of comic book genre, a live action, but it's not. All it is Elements ripped off from RoboCop, especially the adverts, right? Lost, the kind of mystery box stuff from Lost, and obviously you got the sitcoms thing. It's not really that original. As I say, live action comic book, it is, there's some originality there, but it's just ripped from other things. So Feig really doesn't have much originality. And what's the thing people keep on getting excited about? WandaVision about, mainly. Oh, is this person going to be in it? We've obviously had the guy from X-Men in it as well. You know, that's not very original to have to rely on cameos. But what Zach's done with MOS, and especially BVS, is something incredibly special and unique. And people are starting to, as I say many times on the DCEU Daily on this channel, I understand they're coming to the plate, they're coming to the table and understanding what Zach tried to do. And I think after Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, a lot more people are going to be appreciating his vision like eventually they appreciated Stanley Kubrick's take on The Shining. One thing we haven't discussed, I mean, it's very interesting what Zach's done with Joker's appearance on Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. The tattoos have gone. But of course, we don't know if the tattoos have gone underneath. He did have tattoos all over his body. Well, he's fully clothed in the trailer, isn't he? Or am I wrong there? Comment down below and remind me. Brain Swiss cheesed again. But one thing we haven't discussed. How does David Ayer feel about this? Because as far as I know, and I may have missed something, and if I have, please let me know in the comments down below. If you're watching the live premiere now, definitely get involved and comment. Or if you're just kind of watching the video later on, please comment down below as well. But he hasn't commented. Now, David Ayer has been very, very supportive of Zack Snyder and his Snyder Cut of Justice League. But he hasn't responded, as I say, as far as I know, to the new Joker design and the way Joker's makeup looks and everything. It would be somewhat, I'm not saying this is the case, but it would be somewhat understandable if David Ayer wasn't very happy about this. You know, David Ayer made the Suicide Squad movie. The Joker had his tattoos on his body and I think on his face. Again, can't remember. But he's definitely looking different to David Ayer's version of the Joker. So it would be understandable if he feels a little bit hurt by this. But he certainly hasn't responded. Doesn't really seem to be retweeting a lot of Release the Air Cut stuff anymore either, but I'm sure he still wants his version of Suicide Squad to be released. And what happened to David Ayer was a disgrace. You see now James Gunn's done his own Suicide Squad movie, which I'm really excited about, but David Ayer should have been in his position. And David Ayer was punished for things that weren't even his fault. And he played the game with WB. He spoke their lies and said there wasn't going to be a director's cut and this was his ultimate vision, blah, 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 talking of the theatrical version. And what does he get? He loses everything. This is Hollywood. This is the entertainment industry. Sometimes people who don't play ball win in the end, like Zach. And people who do play ball, like David, don't win. That's very, very tragic and sad. I would love to know how he feels about the new design. But as I've already said, I would totally understand if he wasn't very happy. And so why has Zach done this? Why has he changed the appearance? Is it a somewhat of bending of the knee? You can bet your bottom dollar. Now, Zach doesn't normally bend the knee with his own vision, but let's not forget, this is how he would do the Joker. And the way we saw David's Joker is the way David would do the Joker. I don't think Zach's trying to diss David or anything like that. Zach's not like that. I just think that he knows that the look that Jared Leto's Joker had in Suicide Squad didn't go down very well with the majority of people. I liked it fine. I thought it was very unique, very new 52. Didn't mind it whatsoever. I don't know why people were so triggered. I know why people were triggered, because it wasn't Leto's Joker. Sorry, it wasn't Heath Ledger's Joker. So people were just obsessed with Ledger's Joker and wanted everyone to repeat that. You can't repeat what Heath did. Heath was a one-off, and he's no longer with us, unfortunately, regrettably. So we're never going to see that Joker again, only in reruns, right, of The Dark Knight. So Zach understands. Look, Zach wants to restore the Snyderverse. There's no question about it. Just as badly, more badly than we do. So what's he going to do? He's already got his unique vision out there, which we know how a lot of people feel about Zack and his unique visions. He's a visionary storyteller, director, writer, isn't he? I think he saw an opportunity here to make some Joker fans happy. Now, what was it he said to Fiona pre-release of the official trailer on Sunday? He said, this trailer is for the normies, for the outsiders, for the diehard DC fans, other people who haven't come to the party, kind of thing. That's what he said to Fiona. Now, surprise, surprise, we see his version of the Joker tattooless. Now, some idiots have said, well, is there tattoo removal? We don't know what you can get done on the black market in the nightmare future, right? So, no point trying to even think about how Leto's Joker got the tats removed, but he still could have the tats on the body, by the way. So, yeah, I did want to mention that today because I have wanted to mention it for quite a while. I do notice these things, and nobody else seems to or wants to talk about it, at least, that David Ayer hasn't said anything about the new design from Zack Snyder for Jared Leto's Joker, and I would be very interested to know what his take on it is. We don't hear much from the magnificent Deborah Snyder, Zack Snyder's wife, but when we do, it's something very, very proficient and brilliant. And just like her husband, she knows how to expose these haters. And this is an article from Screen Rant by Anna, whose second name I can't pronounce. And I will continue to do Screen Rant articles that talk about stuff that we need to talk about here on the DCU Daily, because a lot of their journalists are Zack Snyder supporters and DC supporters. And so I think they deserve for people to read their articles out on their channels. Producer Deborah Snyder says criticism about Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice are because of people's preconceived notions coming to the film. And of course, this was the defense for Star Wars The Last Jedi as well. We all had preconceived ideas about what that film was going to be because of what J.J. Abrams gave us in the first film. And when we didn't get those preconceived ideas, we kind of were. I was personally very underwhelmed by that film, but I did have preconceived ideas. I did see a mystery box of a trilogy, which could be kind of, the layer would be pushed back and we would be given some answers in, The Rise of Skywalker. But this is the problem. It's a very different, actually. People do compare The Last Jedi and BVS, but they're very different situations. Let's not forget that basically this was going to be J.J. Abrams' trilogy, and Rian Johnson comes in the middle, who obviously, understandably, has a different vision. It would have made more sense, and I don't really want to talk about Star Wars on a DCEU channel, we're not a DCEU channel, are we? We're a channel that talks about entertainment, but at the DCEU Daily. But I just want to say this. If Rian Johnson was given his own trilogy from the beginning or did a Star Wars story, I think you and me would have loved what Rian Johnson did to bits. But because he came in the middle of somebody else's story, didn't particularly maybe like what was done, so he wanted to kind of burn that all down and do his own thing, and he wasn't coming back for the third movie. So the whole thing is absolutely insane. So very, very different. But yeah, this is the problem with BVS and The Last Jedi, is that I think, yes, we all did have preconceived ideas what kind of film a Batman versus Superman film would be. And even as I was watching it, my first watch in the cinema, I thought, this is going to be a very, very different, unique take. I appreciated it, but I was also surprised they went in the direction that they did. Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice co-producer Deborah Snyder says that the criticisms on the film was due to people's preconceived notions about it. Released in 2016, the movie was the second entry in the DCEU following the release of Man of Steel in 2013, which introduced Henry Cavill's Superman. There was a lot of anticipation coming into it, since it was the first time that DC's most popular heroes are sharing the screen together. Unfortunately, it wasn't received as well as the filmmakers wanted it to be. It's an understatement to say that Batman v Superman is one of the most polarizing films in recent memory. While some fans praised Snyder's attempt in reinventing DC's biggest characters, others weren't thrilled with other creative choices he made in the movie. Some of the most notable criticism included the movie being too dark, boring, and having a convoluted narrative, whatever that means, by the way. Not to mention the infamous Martha scene. Still don't know why people hate that scene. I kind of hear their point of view. Oh, they're friends now because their mothers have got the same names. That's not the reason, you dumb shits. Anyway, this resulted in Warner Brothers making some big changes to the DCEU's future, including a more hands-on approach on its subsequent projects, specifically David Ayer's Suicide Squad and Snyder's Justice League, which went through its own set of controversies. Almost 5 years since Batman vs Superman hit theatres, Snyder is opening up about the unkind press the movie got in the aftermath of its release. Speaking with the Lightcast podcast, she cited some of the biggest criticisms on the film weren't really its fault. Instead, it's due to people's preconceived notions coming into it, and when those weren't met, they instantly felt let down by what they saw. This is what Deb had to say. We've had our share of unkind press, some of it, though it's interesting because I think Batman v Superman is a perfect example. It's too dark compared to what? I think that's some of the reactions where it's not funny enough. It's not the movie I expected it to be. And you're saying, is that the movie's fault or is that your fault for having preconceived notion of what it should be? It was kind of interesting to read things like that. Let's be clear here. Everyone has preconceived ideas about anything they're about to experience, whether it's if you're going to make love to your girlfriend or your boyfriend or any significant other, right? You have expectations how it's going to be. You just watched a film where Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze shagged. They've had this great moment and you're kind of got those expectations. And when you don't come to the plate or your partner doesn't come to the plate, because after all, you're only human. You're not the great lover that I am, right? So there's always, the more kind of preconceived your notions are, the more underwhelmed you're going to get. So it's understandable that people have preconceived ideas about a film, but the problem with Batman versus Superman is the marketing. And I've said this before so many times on this channel, that the marketing literally tried to display the idea of a popcorn chomping movie where Batman and Superman fight. They even had the tag, who will win? So what did you expect people to think? You know, we all thought it was a popcorn movie that was going to be epic in battle and scope and have Zack's beautiful, VFX in it, which of course the film did. And I think we were all surprised. I'm lucky enough that I appreciated what Zack Snyder and Terrio gave us and the whole team that brought BVS together. But you can understand people kind of thinking, well, this is not what I expected. I don't like this. I did, of course I did. And a lot of people did. But some people just didn't get it because of the ideas the marketing did. And this is what I've also said on this channel before. If you look at something like Logan, where the marketing was bang on honest. This is our film. It's a gritty take. If you don't fucking like it, don't fucking watch it. That was pretty much the attitude. With this, and I think it's Warner Brothers marketing department at the time, the old regime's marketing, and I think a lot of those people have now left, that did it wrong. They were trying to hide what this film actually was. If they actually gave the audience the idea that this film was going to be another gritty superhero movie by Snyder, it would have been more honest, at least. But they didn't do that. And this is the problem. They tried to make it look like the film was something that it wasn't. So this is why people had huge preconceived notions about the film. So I totally agree with Deb there, and she exposes these people who hate this movie. But I also understand that if you went into this film after the marketing, you thought it was going to be this mainstream movie, and it was something so indie in terms of superheroes, but it was still wonderful and unique and visionary. And as Grace says, the shining of superhero movies. And eventually, a lot of people that hate it now are going to love it. In fact, so many people that I've spoken to hated it in first viewing and now say it's absolute classic and they really can't watch the MCU anymore because there's so much in this film to unpackage and there's very little to unpackage in the MCU movies. So that's a good point as well. Batman v Superman was integral in director Zack Snyder's five-film DCEU plan as it introduces the rest of the Justice League, albeit half of them only appeared in brief cameos. Not only that, it also planted a lot of narrative plot points that were supposed to pay off in later films. Batman's nightmare sequence in particular is very important to the upcoming Justice League project on HBO Max, which is dubbed the Snyder Cut. While the theatrical version worked on by Joss Whedon barely touched this element, it didn't touch that element of the narrative. This vision of a dystopian future is actually the linchpin of the team's whole fight against Steppenwolf and Darkseid. So understandably, when Warner Brothers pivoted their approach in an attempt to make Batman v Superman irrelevant, it had a domino effect throughout the whole franchise. That's a good point. While Snyder's read on the circumstance definitely has merit, considering that there are other movies who had similar issues but weren't pummeled by negative coverage, it's also worth noting that there were other aspects of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice that were criticised not because people had certain predetermined ideas of how the movie should turn out. For example, there were some who simply didn't like its pacing or what the filmmakers were trying to achieve through it. Let's talk about the pacing, by the way, because I think this is important. The film starts off very, very exciting and fast in its pace. We get the Batman losing his parents, the whole kind of beautiful life thing. Then we get Batman's or Bruce Wayne's kind of point of view of the Battle of Metropolis. So that's kind of really exciting and fastly paced. Then the pace drops. We see the Diver get the kryptonite, and then we see the introductions of Lex. But this is the problem with this kind of MCU generation. They want everything fast. They want the dialogue fast. They want everything snappy. That's not what BVS was. And this is what they got wrong in the marketing. There's nothing wrong with having a slow pace. And, you know, when you call that problems within the pacing, the problem's with you, not the movie. The movie is trying to develop characters. It's trying to give you characterizations. It's trying to give you motivations. It's also setting up the larger universe, right? There's, you know, if Zack stayed on, there would have been another 3 or 4 movies in his arc, right? So this is a big setup as well. There's a big story to tell here. You can't just have explosions all through the movie. I mean, you people who hate Snyder, you're the ones who say that he's got all the visuals, but he doesn't do good stories or character development. And when he's trying to do it, you know, you're throwing him under the bus for doing it. You make your minds up. People have different tastes and preferences that are shaped by their experiences, so it's impossible to cater to everyone. But at the end of it, what's important is everyone is respectful about other people's choices. I think, absolutely, I think Anna makes a great point. It is Anna, isn't it? Imagine if she was watching this. Well, she wouldn't be watching this. Yeah, Anna. Yeah, a great article by Anna, and Deb makes a great point. And I think preconceived notions through the trailers, I think, and the marketing, which they got wrong, by the way, and we had the whole Doomsday reveal that, well, I defended. But at the end of the day, they were trying to sell the movie by revealing Doomsday. And by the way, people say the CG's rubbish. The CG's beautiful in Doomsday, right? And the way he hasn't got spikes at first, but slowly grows the spikes as he's more hurt, right? Is brilliant. As his skin gets more denser and tougher. That was a great concept from Snyder as well. I have absolutely so much love for BVS, but I also have to respect people who are constructive about their criticisms of the film. That's what my arena is about. This is what my platforms are about here on Twitter, everywhere. If you're constructive and fair, I'm quite happy to get into a good, constructive, respectful conversation with you. But if you're just going to be glass half full and disrespectful and going impersonal about the Snyders or other things, it's like when people say, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. The Snyderverse is dead. You know, people like that, I can't have a debate with you because you've already made your minds up and you're talking like a matter of fact. And people like that, for me, have an arrogance that I just can't deal with. The multiverse, the DC multiverse is really taking shape now. And we have a casting update here for you for Black Adam. The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Black Adam, which I'm really looking forward to. DC's Black Adam movie casts Aladdin's Marwan Kenzari as the villain. DC's long-awaited Black Adam movie casts Aladdin, an old guard star Marwan Kenzari reportedly as the villain to Dwayne Johnson's anti-hero by Rachel Abernathy of Screen Rant. DC's long-awaited Black Adam movie adds Aladdin star Marwan Kenzari in the villain role. Dwayne Johnson is set to play the titular DC villain turned anti-hero in Black Adam, a project he's been trying to get made for years now. Last year saw the film make great progress behind the scenes, and it looked like it would actually make its December 2021 release date. However, disruptions caused by the coronavirus pandemic forced the reshuffling of the DCEU's calendar, and Black Adam was pulled off the schedule entirely. Despite that setback, Black Adam continues to move forward towards production. For some time, Johnson was the only cast member announced, but more names have been added in recent months. Black Adam will feature the big screen debut of the Justice Society of America, which I can't wait to see what they do with that, by the way. So it's really, really exciting. With Noah Centineo as Atom Smasher, Quintunza Swindell as Cyclone, and Aldis Hodge as Hawkman filling in its ranks. Dr. Fate will also appear, though the character has yet to be cast. Additionally, Sarah Shelley will play an unknown character, and now another performer has hopped on the back of the Adam train. The Hollywood Reporter reports Marwan Kenzari is in final negotiations to star in Black Adam. Kenzari is best known for playing Jafar in Disney's live-action Aladdin, as well as Joe in Netflix's breakout action flick The Old Guard. As for his Black Adam role, he will reportedly portray the villain. According to The Wrap, production is looking to begin in April in Atlanta. So, The Flash has already started production. There's a lot of DC projects in production this year. That's exciting. But the film remains without a release date. With Black Adam, Kenzari adds another high-profile studio movie to his filmography. Plot details are still slim, so it's hard to predict which DC Comics character he could end up playing. However, those who saw his performance in Aladdin know he can handle the villainous types, and it will be exciting to see him go toe-to-toe with Johnson. Back when Shai was cast in October, Johnson seemed to hint she would be Black Adam's villain. Perhaps she and Kenzari's mystery guy will team up. For the time being, expect Kenzari's character to remain a secret. If filming is aiming to begin in April, it will be some time before more specifics are revealed. What seems more pressing now is the missing release date. Should Black Adam start production as planned, it could be set to premiere in the first half of 2022. There could be some space for the movie in the DCEU's calendar after the Batman debuts in March. Only time will tell where Black Adam lands, but the cast is definitely growing in size, and that's a thrilling thing. It certainly is. So he's a really good actor. I haven't seen The Old Guard, I'll be honest, but I have seen him in Aladdin, and I thought he was brilliant in that film. All star-studded cast. I thought that was one of Disney's better live-action interpretations of their animated movies. So that's an exciting piece of casting, and as the author of the article said, it is exciting to see that project moving forward. I wouldn't be too worried or concerned or anguished about no release date. I think we could get a closer release date than you think. Originally, December 2021. I mean, this film starts in April, so we're looking at May, June, July, August, September, October. Now, actual physical shooting of a film these days, especially one with capes, is about 3 months, and then kind of the VFX and everything else takes another 3 months maybe. You could be looking at an early 2022. Could it still resume at the end of 2021? It's not very plausible, but you never know in Hollywood. I have a lot of time for Idris Elba. I was very excited about his casting in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I was disappointed in a way at first that they said he was replacing Will Smith. Obviously, he's not. But Idris, I've got a lot of time for. Trained classically in the UK. And one of his co-stars has a compliment for him. So let's give that a read. The Suicide Squad Storm Reed explains why Idris Elba was incredible to work with, by Richard Nebbins. The DC Extended Universe is looking to continue its expansion this summer. After the slightly controversial debut of Wonder Woman 1984 over the 2020 holiday season, the 10th canon film in the franchise will be The Suicide Squad, coming as a sort of reboot sequel from the first time DC director James Gunn. No plot details have been revealed for the movie yet, but it already boasts one of the most impressive casts of any DCEU film to date. A handful of stars will reprise their roles from 2016's Suicide Squad, like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn and Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag, while Hollywood icons like John Cena and Idris Elba will bring classic DC characters like Peacemaker and Bloodsport to life for the first time. The dynamic between cast members has been described as truly special on multiple occasions as well. Well, that's what you get with a James Gunn movie. He knows how to get this positive dynamic with his cast. He's very good at it. This continues in a new interview with one of the film's youngest stars. In a recent interview with Entertainment Tonight, actress Storm Reid gave a little insight into both her character and her experience working on the DCEU's The Suicide Squad. While she doesn't know exactly who plays in the movie, Liar, Reid reveals that she's super excited to see the final result of the work she's put in, confirming that what she's seen in ADR looks incredible. Here's her quotes. "I don't know who I play. Her name is Tyler. That's what I can give you, but I actually saw a little bit of it in ADR and it looks incredible. So that is all I can say. I don't want to get in trouble, but I am super excited to be part of it." She continued on to describe how this sequel is different from the first one and teased a bit of spiciness that she gets to use in her character's personality. Here's more of what she says. It's a fun one. It's different from the first one, but I think it's going to take people on a ride. And there are a lot of twists and turns and surprises as far as my character goes. She's a little spicy, so you guys can expect a little bit of spiciness from her, whatever that means. Continuing her exploration of the spiciness she embodies in this movie, she seems to love getting tapped into that side of her role, with her character being just a little sassy and having a little bit of swag. I feel like it's something I can tap into because she's just a little sassy and has a little bit of a swag. So I feel like she kind of related to me a little bit. Reid plays the daughter of Idris Elba's Bloodsport. I didn't know that, actually. And she couldn't help but gush about how he's the nicest person to work with. He's incredible. He's the nicest person to work with, but also so focused. It's so crazy how he can go in and out. He will be his character, and then his character is serious, and then they would call cut, and he would just go back into conversation and laugh and talk. And I'm like, this guy is incredible. So he definitely kept me on my toes, but we had a great time. That's brilliant. Idris Elba is taking on his first role within the DC Extended Universe, an honour to have him in something that I stand, by the way, after playing the Asgardian gatekeeper, Heimdall. In the Thor trilogy and 2 Avengers movies from the MCU, he appears to be fully embracing his experience playing Bloodsport in the Suicide Squad, and it's fantastic to see how deeply his connection with Storm Reid is growing in their time together. As for Reid's character, with so little known about the movie, its story is still a great deal of mystery surrounding Tyler, and her journey through the Suicide Squad, being Bloodsport's daughter, will surely be an important part of everything she experiences with the full team, and her sassy personality should have every opportunity to shine through her performance. With so few details known about what will happen in the Suicide Squad, including whom many actors like Reid are playing, there are still many questions that fans are asking about James Gunn's first project in the DCEU. However, it will assuredly bring something fresh to a franchise that has made plenty of controversial decisions in the past, and Reid should play an important part in revitalising this story. It's interesting, isn't it, right, that they call visionaries and different takes controversial. I mean, when I was growing up, Oliver Stone was controversial because of the matter, the subject matters he was dealing with, like the Vietnam War and Kennedy's assassination. Now they call people like Zack Snyder controversial. It's just really weird. But anyone know who Tyler is? Who is this character? Who she's playing? If you're deeply in these comics, maybe you know. Maybe it's non-comic canon character. I'm very interested, though, that he has a daughter in this film as well. So it's great to hear Storm Reid be so positive about Idris Elba. He is a great guy. He is a gent. He is very talented. And those of us who are trained in performance arts in the UK get the best deal, because it is the home of the way acting was born, and that Shakespearean way of acting. And I always feel that American artists have a lot to learn from us over in the UK. And I know that sounds a bit arrogant. That's just how I feel. This is unrelated to the DCEU, but this is very DC related. George Miller's Justice League Mortal would have been a crazy fever dream, says Star. Jay Bruckheimer, who was set to star as Maxwell Lord in George Miller's cancelled Justice League Mortal, says it would have been a crazy movie by Daniel Gillespie of Screen Rant again. I just said his surname and I can't pronounce it now. Jay Baruchel, who was set to star as Maxwell Lord in George Miller's cancelled Justice League Mortal, says it would have been a crazy movie. Jay was due to play Maxwell Lord, the same character recently portrayed by Pedro Pascal in Wonder Woman 84, and spent months preparing for his role in the movie. He was cast alongside a young group of actors, which included Armie Hammer as Batman, Wendy Gale as Wonder Woman, Adam Brody, who of course now plays, he's in the Shazam universe now, isn't he? He plays one of the Shazam family. And of course, he was doing very well at the time with the OC, which is a series I really enjoyed, by the way. So where are we? Young group of actors, which included Armie Hammer as Batman, Wendy Gale as Wonder Woman, Adam Brody as Barry Allen, The Flash. Interesting casting. I think it's good casting, by the way. DJ Cotrona as Superman, Common as Green Lantern, and Anton Yeltsin as Wally West. Now, that's the late Anton Yeltsin. I didn't know this, and obviously he plays Chekhov in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. Very sad loss. A great young actor as well. Would have been great casting. So the actor continues, who is currently working as the director of horror movies in his native Canada, is best known for voicing Hiccup, the hero of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, and appearing in a number of Judd Apatow and Seth Rogen projects, including Knocked Up and This Is the End. He's spoken frequently about his experience working with Miller on Justice League Mortal, hailing the experience as a key time in learning how to direct, as well as talking about various aspects of the production. He's mentioned in the past that the best Superman suit was the one used in Justice League Mortal, but hasn't gone too in-depth on what the movie would have looked and felt like, but now he's revealed some more details. Speaking to Variety, Baruchel says that he can't speak to how his version of Maxwell Lord compares to Pascal's, not having watched Wonder Woman 1984, but that he can speak to what Justice League Mortal would have been, and to hear Baruchel tell it would have been a wild ride of a movie. The actor-director calls it a crazy fucking fever dream of a movie, adding that it would have been a blast to get to make it. You can read his full comments below. I haven't seen Wonder Woman 1984. I know the characters in it, so I can't speak to what they did versus what we were going to do. I can't speak to the I can speak to the crazy fucking fever dream that would have been Justice League Mortal by George Miller. I just spent 10 minutes talking the shit about acting, but my time in Australia with him is everything I adore about the craft. He treated it like a play. We workshopped. We had a full-on dramaturg on set, wow, and did super Ernest Meisner technique shit and ripped apart and unpacked the script just for the sake of itself. It was art for art's sake. George is one of the most important filmmakers of all time, and part of the reason I wanted to be a director was Mad Max Road Warrior. I have no idea what they did in the new one, but in ours we had psychokinesis, blood coming out of my tear ducts, and a whole bunch of crazy cool shit that would have been a blast to do. We were painting with pretty vivid operatic colours. Wow, this film sounds like it would have been amazing. Clearly, Baruchel was excited about Justice League Mortal, and it remains one of the great what-if movies in Hollywood history, particularly as Miller went from that failed project to make Mad Max Fury Road, considered one of the best action films of the past decade, and perhaps even of all time. Let's not get too carried away. As a result, many have speculated just how crazy Miller's vision for Justice League Mortal was, and Baruchel's words confirmed that he was aiming high. While Zack Snyder got a crack at Justice League, his vision for which will finally be released on HBO Max in just over a month, there's no doubt that Miller's unique sensibilities would have produced a very different movie that would have satisfied DC fans in a different way. Sadly, Justice League Mortal never made it to production, but fans can rest assured it would have been as crazy as rumoured if Bareshel is to be believed, and I do believe him. Look, when you hear an actor saying we were doing arty stuff, we were unpackaging the script, we were literally doing what we learned at drama school, and this is what George Miller is. I mean, what a guy to do a Justice League movie. And another visionary like Zack Snyder. It's a pity we'll never see it, or will we? Who knows, in this crazy industry. We are just under a week away for the premiere of the pilot of Superman and Lois, starring Tyler Hoechlin as the titular character. And Rachel Labonte is talking about the show. Superman is always relevant, says Arrowverse star Tyler Hoechlin. Arrowverse star Tyler Hoechlin explains why Superman is and always will be relevant, regardless of the time period he's being depicted in. Arrowverse star Tyler Hoechlin explains why Superman is always relevant, regardless of the time period Hoechlin first slipped on the Man of Steel's cape in the second season of Supergirl, and over the years has returned to the role for various Arrowverse crossovers with Superman and Lois. The CW's latest DC offering, Hoechlin will finally lead his own show as the iconic hero. He'll be joined by Elizabeth Tulloch, who plays intrepid reporter Lois Lane. Superman and Lois follows the two as they move their family from Metropolis to Smallville and learn to balance their world-famous personas with the struggles of parenthood. As a character, Superman is someone who has seemingly always been around, and at the very least, he's been portrayed on screen numerous times, both in film and on television. In fact, not long after Superman and Lois premieres next week, Henry Cavill's Superman will get new life with Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's easy then to wonder how on earth Superman can stick around in pop culture for so long and still remain fresh. Superman and Lois is taking some steps to make this iteration of the hero unique, but the question still remains. Hoechlin has an answer for that. Superman is always relevant. While talking to EW about Superman and Lois, Hoechlin was asked about how one makes a DC hero stay relevant. After several years and numerous adaptations, he's countered by wondering, when is it not important to have a character who stands for good? Hoechlin remarked. So this is what Tyler said. As far as being relevant, the one thing I've always look at is, when is it irrelevant that you need someone who is always there to do good? I hope to God we don't have a time where we don't think it's important to have people around who just stand up for what's right and help those who can't help themselves, kind of thing. For me, that relevant question always comes back to that. I don't know a time that we're never not going to need people who step in to do good and do the right thing. As you can see, as a Superman fan, those words mean a lot to me, because this is what Superman is to me. And I don't care what fucking version you're talking about. George Reeves, Christopher Reeves, Dean Cain, Tom Welling, Henry Cavill, they all stand for the same thing. Jesus Christ, Cavill's Superman sacrifices his own life for this very fucking reason. Brilliant words there, and I don't care if the spin doctors at the CW or Warner Brothers have told him to say it. These words are bang spot on, and the people behind the scenes may just be using it to sell the project, but we know this is exactly how we feel. I am absolutely excited about this project. I'm happy that they've injected a lot of finance into it, that it's got this unique new take. I think they're the best takes for Superman, but he's still going to be a hero. He's still going to be Superman, balancing his family life as well, and there's secrets and twists and turns, and he's got kids as well, which makes things a little bit unique and a little bit fresh too. So bring on Superman and Lois. Finally today, you'll be relieved to hear, because it's been another long one, nearly 44 minutes, nearly 45 minutes. So Zack Snyder's Justice League merchandise teases Green Lantern appearance. This is something that's been teased by Zack, teased by actors and other people involved in the production. Is there a Green Lantern in this? Is the Lantern Corps in this? Do we go to OR and things like that? I think we will go to OR, by the way. A lot of people will shoot me down. I don't have any evidence of this. Again, 4-hour movie. Why can't we spend some time in our Apocalypse, Atlantis, these worlds that occupy the DC universe and these DC characters in this film? I believe we will get the Lantern Corps in this. Obviously, the rumor about Ryan Reynolds, I still don't know. That would be so awesome. Imagine in the next trailer if they tease Ryan Reynolds, because that would sell the film. And some people say, oh, you've given everything away. But as a marketing tool, it will be an amazing thing to do. So let's read this article by Sam Hargrave of DC Direct. It's no secret that Zack Snyder's new and improved version of his 2017 Justice League movie, which is set to release next month, will be totally a different movie to what came before, due to Snyder's replacement with Joss Whedon on the original film. Following a string of studio interference, Justice League ended up totally different movie to what the director originally intended. When Snyder was planning out his vision for the DCEU several years back, he had intended for Justice League to take the form of a two-part movie with plans to introduce the Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern. However, following the death of his daughter, that plan was cut short, and Justice League turned into a one-off financial and critical disaster that changed the angle of the universe altogether. Those who have closely followed the build-up to the long-awaited release of Zack Snyder's Justice League will be aware the director has been teasing a whole list of new inclusions in the film. Some of these changes include Jared Leto's Joker, Darkseid, and some more of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, just to name a few. However, a newly revealed suite of merchandise for the film may have hinted towards the involvement of one more surprise character. Are the Green Lantern Corps in Justice League? Did I say corpse or did I say core earlier? Sorry if I said corpse. I was being an idiot. Are the Green Lantern Corps in Justice League? A post on Snyder's Vero page provided a link to a merchandise listing on Inc. to the people for a selection of new Justice League merchandise available now. All funds raised from the sales will go to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. This is calls clearly near and dear to Snyder's heart after his daughter tragically committed suicide in March 2017, which led to his original departure from the project. One item available on the site is a sticker pack showcase logo from various heroes involved in the film. While most of the set is to be expected, the set includes a sticker for the Green Lantern symbol, a character group which is yet to appear in the DCEU in any capacity. And we got a list of these stickers here, and is it the circle one at the bottom that's Green Lantern? I'm not quite sure, but that's what they're showing on DC Direct. Unlikely to say the least. I don't think it's unlikely. This shouldn't be taken as any kind of confirmation. Green Lantern will play a role in the movie. While there were rumours around the time of initial release of a Green Lantern cameo or tease being featured in the film, this obviously never came to fruition, and there was little evidence to suggest it was planned. Right, I think you're talking shit, mate, and I'll tell you why. In Justice League, right, we see a Green Lantern, don't we? So if Justice League that cut the hell out of everything has a lantern, do you really think that we're not going to see the core in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut? Of course we will. I'm really confident about this. However, the question remains, why is the Green Lantern symbol on this official merchandise, which is being promoted by Snyder himself, given it was part of the director's vision for the future of the universe prior to 2017 release, and a Green Lantern Corps movie was in development at the time? DC and Snyder may have been looking to tease what's to come. DC never revealed which Green Lantern was intended to don the ring in the Green Lantern Corps movie, which was originally planned to release in 2020. Had the movie seen the light of day as we planned, and by the way, David Goyer was going to do that movie, wasn't he? The film would naturally have been yet another victim of the 2020 delayed curse caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Fans definitely shouldn't expect any surprise cameo from Jon Stewart or Hal Jordan in Green Lantern attire. However, it's possible the film may reveal the existence of the Corps itself before either hero has taken up the mantle. Basically, there is going to be the Green Lanterns populated in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think we're going to see OR. I think we're going to meet the core. Maybe we won't see John Stewart or Hal Jordan. I think we might do, by the way. I don't think it's unlikely. And I don't believe this journalist is just kind of saying, well, you know, the logo's there, but so what? No. We're going to get Green Lantern somehow in this movie. I don't know how. I'm talking about Green Lantern, by the way. Production of the Green Lantern Corps TV show, which is going to be exclusive to HBO Max, will start production also in April. So a massive year for the DC multiverse. Really, really excited. And just a shout out to Jesse Eisenberg, who was a great Lex Luthor, no matter what anyone says. And I can't wait to see more of him in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. So comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below. Shall I grow my hair like the old days, like you saw me in that video in the top of the show? Let me know, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.